Hello fellow humans and welcome to the KPZ 50T and this week's shop review. Now the KPZ 50T is in crates, which means you should immediately ignore it. This one is overpriced, don't buy it. This was for 4,000 gold, which it would be worth. This one isn't. And the rest of them still goes the same as last week. Don't buy the Defenders, 2 FTUs. Still a solid choice.
What inspired you to
Sell the KPZ for an insanely ridiculous price.
Money!
There it is. Obviously, I'm not crazy enough to buy crates, and you shouldn't be either. What you can see is that they're extremely expensive. 10,000 gold for 3 crates. That is insane. And you have charms for 25 of them. 70,000 gold to obtain this vehicle. Is it really worth that? Absolutely no. Let's have a look at this vehicle, and what you can see is it has extremely high DPM already. If you use calibrated on this thing, which I probably definitely recommend on this thing, you still have 3,400, and you end up with less DPM than the Leopard 1 and also less alpha damage, which is not great. You also have worse accuracy and significantly worse mobility than the Leopard 1. It does have armor, unlike the Leopard 1, and you do have somewhat similar gun performance to the E50M. However, again, it is slower. However, it does have better camera rate than the E50M. Now, let's have a look at the armor. The Soviet-style pike nose at the front, which is very well angled, which means you can fire heat rounds at it and will penetrate. However, standard rounds will not go through. Lower plate's a weak spot for anything. Turret can also be penned with heat rounds, so you have armor unless the enemy has a very good premium penetration and it knows how to aim, because it is very rounded, which means you still need to hit the right spots to actually penetrate it. Side armor is a no factor. Sort of angled, so you will get some bounces of it, but don't ever attempt side scraping with this thing. And you can use the gun depression pretty well to go hull down, because the cupolas on the top are basically hidden all the way at the back. Now, the biggest advantage of this vehicle is its unknowingness. Like, no one knows how to play this tank, or no one knows how to play against it, rather. Because obviously, it's extremely rare. The first time it was sold, I mean, it wasn't even sold. It was just shoehorned into a crate that it shouldn't have been in. And now, it's being sold for 70,000 gold, which is an equivalent of about 200 euros. Which means every single KPZ that I can see on the battlefield in the future, or in the next coming weeks, I will assume that there is a significant deficiency of oxygen in their brain. So, I absolutely would not ever recommend buying crates for this vehicle. Now, is it a tank that is it is very capable. It is a tank that is very capable in the right hands. However, it is not a be-all and end-all vehicle that you must have that is completely and utterly OP. It is absolutely not that. It is solid for what it is. It is a Soviet medium tank with German armor and gun depression. That's about all it is, really. It's nothing that impressive. If you have played a 62A, imagine having gun depression. That's how the KPZ plays. So, that is about it. Now, if you are left alone like this, and if no one threatens you, then you can use the extremely insane DPM of this vehicle, 3,400, which is about the highest you'll go in tier 10. 113 has that as well, but given that a lot of tanks have 2,500, 2,600, 3,400 is extremely high. So, it has extremely high DPM, which is very nice. And it does have good armor as well. The mobility is not that great. However, after you've accelerated, it'll chug along nicely at its top speed, so that's not really that big of a deal either. Would it be a solid deal if it were in the shop for 20,000 gold as a regular bundle, or rather 17,500, which the Chieftain Mark 6 has been sold for before, then yes, it would be a solid purchase to pick up. Also, what isn't a solid choice is if you are a TVP and you have an autoloader, but then you choose to not have a fully loaded magazine and charge a tank you can't clip. So, yeah, TVP, do that better next time. Load your clip, then kill me. Now, as you can see there, 5k damage, just like that, in 3 minutes, so it can definitely put out a lot of damage in the right hands, which is absolutely lovely. And this is obviously an ace game. However, I'll show you another ace game, and then you'll see what that really means. Now, here we are on Canyon, which is a map that this tank is going to work in just about fine. 8 degrees of gun depression and the very solid turret armor that can be penetrated. Mind you, the turret can be penetrated, especially by tank destroyers. However, for the most part, it's going to be somewhat difficult. If you move it back and forth, you will be just about fine. Nothing special there. I will stand by the fact it is a Soviet medium with gun depression. That's how it works. It's It even has a similarly bad power to weight ratio. However, the Russian tanks have extremely good ground resistance to make up for that. Now, is it worth, as I already said, 17.5k, it would absolutely be worth it to pick it up. However, it's definitely better than MX-30B. I mean, if you buy an MX-30B, you essentially spend the money to play worse. Which is, yeah, as you can see, it's a very round turret, so even tank destroyers, if you don't aim properly, you can't bounce off it if you don't hit the right kind of spots. So, it is a solid tank. 17.5k gold would be absolutely amazing, would definitely pick it up. But for 70k, which is what it costs in the crates, that is the price, that is what Wargaming thinks you have to pay with the charms. You can get earlier, but that is not what you can expect. You cannot just expect it to come earlier, right? Always go at the charm price, because that's the price it's actually sold for. Now, obviously for those 70k gold, you also get other things in those crates when you buy them. However, think about yourself. What kind of a person you are if you were to spend 70,000 gold on a singular vehicle that isn't really very unique. You can play an E50M and you have a very, very similar experience, and maybe even a better experience at that. Obviously, the biggest advantage the KPZ has is that it's unknown. No one has to play it again. No one knows how to play it, and so people are going to struggle. Obviously, that also results in a lot of very easy aces, as you will be able to see in this game. This is not going to be an impressive game, but it will be an ace nonetheless. So, I mean, if you want to farm free aces for a couple of hours, here you are. However, 70k gold is insanity. Absolute and utter insanity. And if you were to pay that, then you would be absolutely being a disappointment to yourself and also to your parents. Because if they have ever taught you anything about financial literacy, they failed. And if they didn't teach you anything about it, they failed anyway. So, don't disappoint your parents. Unless they're a disappointment themselves, then it doesn't really matter. But anyway, the KPZ does have two very non-disappointing parents in the Leopard 1 and the E50M. It's expensive, which it's not worth. It's a solid vehicle. But, would you pay 70,000 gold for this vehicle? I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. And, it is definitely a good vehicle that can be worth playing. But, 3k damage. This is an ace. 3k damage and 4 kills is an ace. Which is average for me. Really? So, that's something. And 1,000 assist damage, which is about... So, 3.5k damage is an ace. Not very impressive, is it? So, very easy to ace. Don't buy crates. It's a very bad idea. But do like and subscribe and join my Discord server. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one. Goodbye.